Good day and you're welcome. You are tuned into the Rashad Grove Show. You're rocking with the best. We're glad to have you this afternoon, this morning, this evening, or wherever and whenever you're tuned in. Make sure you like and subscribe on all the social media platforms, especially YouTube. Shout out, the page is growing, the subscribers are coming in every day. Really appreciate y'all for supporting the kid on this new venture that I'm mad excited about. We are powered by Star Child Media Enterprises, executive produced by the one and only Brandy uh, Briz Grove. Follow her at Briz Online 1982 on all the social medias. And thanks to my boy SP Methods for that banger of an intro and outro music we have. Typically on Fridays, when we launched the show, I wanted to use Fridays for my interview series where I share recent interviews I did or dig into the past. I got so much in my archives, in the stash, in the vault, if you will, that I wanted to share with the audience. But my executive producer is away for the week, and I cannot figure out how to upload them and get them right. So I wasn't going to mess with that today, but it kind of worked out anyway because we had a in the NBA, which I talk the sport I talk most about on the show, had something major happen with Jayson Tatum being upgraded from out to questionable. And for those who may not know, when you're questionable for the game, it means you're most likely to play. And the Celtics tonight take on the Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flag is back, and 7 p.m. Eastern Time in Boston. And according to Chris Haynes, shout out to you, my man, and Sham Sharania, uh, Jayson Tatum will make his return on tonight against the Mavericks. That is such an amazing thing to think about. The last time we saw him, mm, 10 months ago, in the Eastern Conference semifinals at Madison Square Garden when he ruptured his Achilles. But from that moment on, he's been on it with his. He got surgery the next day, and they say that's the kind of injury that requires surgery as soon as possible to aid in the recovery. So he got that done, rehabbing 6 days a week, and he's going to make his return. And I wanted to talk about why Jayson Tatum's return is a game changer. It's a game changer for the Eastern Conference. It's a game changer for the Boston Celtics. And it's a game changer for the league. Uh, Having one of the top 10, top 7-ish players in the league come back. And it's like they're getting a new player in the trade or a free agent signing with 22 games left they have to play. But I want to give a little history lesson, if you will. Take you back in the days, if you please. I remember, in the Philly area, we all had the TBS Superstation. It was owned by Ted Turner. I watched wrestling on there a lot, NWA, WCW. But because Ted Turner owned, I believe at the time, the Atlanta Hawks, I know he owned the Atlanta Braves, they would show the Hawks games in our area, the away games and the home games all the time. And the first time I ever heard about someone suffering an Achilles injury was one of my favorite players of all time, Dominique, the Human Highlight Film Wilkins. And it was in January of 1992. Man, Wilkins returned after being out of commission 9 months and 9 days before then. So 1991, he suffered an Achilles rupture. And just imagine how science was back then, uh, almost 40 years ago. And he made it back to form. And around 10 months or so. And that season, the 1992-93 season, when he came back, he was averaging 30 points a game. And he's like the gold standard for the Achilles rupturing and recovering. I know modern times we think of Kevin Durant when he came back. He took a year off when he left Golden State and signed with the Brooklyn Nets. But Tatum has seemed to be on that accelerated Dominique Wilkins track. And him coming back to this Celtics team, who everybody thought this was a throwaway year. This was a year they could get some draft picks. You know, they traded away. They let Al Horford go. They traded away Drew Holiday. It seemed like they packed the year up. But no one told Jaylen Brown this. No one told Derek White. And no one told the Celtics organization. And nobody told Joe Mazzulla that this was to be the year for them to take a step back. They are looking like a great team all year round. Jaylen Brown is on the outskirts of the MVP consideration. He's become, in his opinion, the top two-way player in the league. And the Celtics are right behind the Pistons, if I'm not mistaken, as having the second best record in the conference. Who saw that coming? I thought they could sniff the play-in tournament. But they are looking like an elite, well-oiled machine. And can you imagine them looking that good and adding Tatum to that lineup? And Jayson Tatum, if he's 70%, if he's 60%, if he's 80% of what he was at his peak, how good will the Celtics be? I think they're the most dangerous team in the playoffs. If Tatum plays tonight and he gets a runway of these last 22 games that the Celtics have on their schedule, and he can get his mentality back. We've seen the footage of him dunking. He's been practicing. So the physical aspect of his comeback is going according to plan. But it's a different ballgame when you go up against non-teammates, non-Boston Celtic affiliated players, and you have to turn that thinking hat on and get your instincts together and move and make these cuts and deal with pick and rolls and falling in the ground and dealing with that kind of contact that comes with playing in the league. So he has 22 games if he plays tonight to get that together. Then they're going to head into the playoffs as one of the top seeds in the East. And in the East, if Jayson Tatum is playing on the Celtics team, you gotta believe and admit that they are the top seed, not only the top seed. I don't know if now they probably won't get the top seed. The Pistons will get that, but they are the class and the best in the Eastern Conference. That is an insane thought because the last time we saw him in New York, we thought the year was over. We thought the season was done for the Celtics, and they've proven us otherwise. And I got to give it up to Coach Joe Mazzulla, who I clown a lot. You know, he's a weird guy, weird shape-up game. I remember seeing him at I was at Kevin Hart's Heart Weekend a few years ago, covering his second to the last live stand-up he did in Las Vegas. And I was there, and I saw Joe Mazzulla, I guess, with his wife. And he looked so, he always looking like he about to jump on somebody, Typically, I introduce myself, try to get a pic, tell him what I do. I saw him, I went the complete opposite direction. It looked like he was scouting a place out to do something crazy. And, we make fun of him, but I must say, he's one of the elite coaches in the league. And this job he's doing with the Celtics this year is one of the greatest coaching jobs we've seen in modern years. And Coach of the Year will be tough, even though probably J.B. Bickerstaff will get it because none of us saw the Pistons improving in such a fast and rapid pace. But what Joe Mazzulla is doing in Boston is an amazing coaching job. They brought into the system. They brought into his voice. They have his aggression. They're taking on a lot of his attributes and his personality. And I got to give it up to Missoula, who I highly doubted when he came in as a head coach. And the next year, he's a champion. And the following year, trying to defend the title, he loses. Um, at the time, we thought was his best player. Now, him and Jalen, neck and neck. And what a great uh, situation to have when you have two of the elite wings on your team and one's coming back. And a lot of us, especially these so-called pundits, need to be ashamed of themselves a year or two ago. Matter of fact, more than that, was trying to divide and get the Celtics to trade Tatum or trade Brown or not re-sign them. Yo, when you have two elite wings like that, you figure it out. In their prime, they're young. Think Brown may be 27, Tatum may be 26. Now you keep them together as long as possible. That is the core of the Celtics franchise going forward. You build around those two. You don't find two wings like that growing together, cultivating their games together with a strong organization. Now you keep them together. And when they win that championship, they silence a lot of folks. But Tatum's return is a game changer. He was supposed to have a 12-month recovery originally, but he's 2 months ahead of schedule, and he's been shooting a documentary. I forget which platform it's going to be on, documenting his recovery, talking about how he had to cry. Why is me? Oh, why is it me? Really crying out to God and dealing with the difficulty of such a devastating injury at that time of his career. And really getting through that part had to develop in him some inner resources, Howard Thurman would say, that he didn't have before. And even though he's going to struggle with rust, he's going to struggle with timing, he's going to struggle with the instinctual things that come with playing professional basketball every day. He hasn't played since last year. But he has something else to offer, a grit, a determination, and a toughness that he did not have before this severe injury. And if he is half the player he was, the Celtics have to be the favorites in the East. They have to be the favorites. The Celtics went out and got Vucevic, Vu. They got him at center. They're clicking. The defense is rolling. Those European names, they get tricky sometimes. And I'm looking at that team, and I think when they went and got Vucevic from Chicago, they were anticipating Tatum's return. In the year we thought that this would be an off year for the Celtics, these cats could wind up back in the finals. These cats could wind up winning the Eastern Conference again. Oh, I can't tell you how sick that makes me feel as a Sixer fan. Because when the Sixers were rolling and when Joel was balling and Paul G was playing, I said the East is wide open. The Celtics are not as strong. Tyrese Halliburton, who also tore his Achilles, unlike Tatum, they made it a point at the beginning of the season so he's not coming back. So I thought when I watched VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, and when I watched them get to rolling with PG and Embiid, I said this could be the Sixers' chance. Lo and behold, first week of March, Tatum is coming back. He plays the night, man. Just you have to account for him in a way you don't have to account for any other players. Now, when you see Brown and Tatum together, it changes your whole defensive scheme. It changes all the plans that coaches have. And just to see Tatum in there in that lineup and on the floor brings a different bit of cachet, if you will, to the Celtics. It's a game changer, man. And I've been seeing a lot of questions and talk about how can Tatum fit in. Dog, he's Jayson Tatum. The system that Joe Mazzulla has devised is a plug and play. If you know how to play basketball and have a great basketball IQ, you can make it in that system. They take a lot of threes. They're committed on defense. They hit the paint, pass to the open man. And notice, even though Jaylen Brown is having probably his greatest season, not probably is his greatest season, he's not out there chucking up 35 shots. That's not of the Celtics system. So all that talk about how can Jayson fit in, the only problem he'll have fitting in is dealing with the mentality of trusting his body and dealing with the physical nature of getting stronger to make this playoff push. And he fit in, dog, he's Jayson Tatum. You fit in around him. He's a champion. He's an Olympian, even though he got done dirty by Kerr. Don't get me started on him and that situation there. The Jayson Tatum's going to have no issue at all fitting in with the Celtics. They're an established team, established coaching system, needs an established player. If they can't make that work, they need to go back to the drawing board. And those who think it's going to be an issue for him, no. That system that Mazzulla has, and we keep forgetting that they have championship pedigree. And when you win a championship, it gives you this persona. If they can win a championship, they can figure out how to incorporate Tatum as these role players have been playing at another level. That's the coach's job. And if Mazzulla can get these guys playing on this level, I'm sure he can figure out how to get Tatum, who probably will be on a strict minutes restriction. He'll be monitored. They've been monitoring him, trusting him with the medical personnel of Boston. They wouldn't just throw him out there if he wasn't ready. So don't be sweating him fitting in. Nah. They're going to make that thing work. They're going to make that thing work. And I want to see him play tonight. I want to see him get that love from the city, his adoptive city, because he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats to ever wear the white and green in Boston. And I want to see him get that love because they were devastated, that fan base, watching him go through that. And to see him work his way back, that is an inspirational and aspirational story right there. He worked his way back to this level to be able to compete. And us in the Eastern Conference, our teams, we're a little nervous about that, and rightfully so. But I want to see him thrive. I want to see him succeed. And I knew a week or two ago that they were getting close, because Jaylen Brown said he's looking pretty damn good. And when I heard him affirm and confirm how good Tatum looks, I said, that kid's coming back. He ain't shooting this documentary for nothing. And as he said in the lead up to all this, I don't rehab. I haven't been rehabbing 6 days a week for nothing. Dog, he's been rehabbing for 6 days a week. Oh, he's ready. He's going to have some timing issues. He's not going to look like himself in the first couple games, but he's ready. By the time April comes around, if he's looking like the old Tatum, league, watch out. This changes the whole building blocks of the Eastern Conference in the league with Tatum coming back. Because if he was at full health, they would be the runaway favorites and probably have the top seed, or at least competing with Detroit. Now that he's back, makes things quite interesting. So not only did Tatum make his comeback, but I also saw Trae Young, who's been ostracized and made a villain. getting dogged, and the narratives against him I'll never understand. Because when he led the Atlanta Hawks, I believe 2021, to the Eastern Conference Finals, he was the darling of the league. Now he doesn't play right. He doesn't play the right defense, and the media narratives are so quick to turn on you. But he made his debut with the Wizards last night. 19 minutes, 12 points, couple assists, couple plays. He has some dynamic dimes and some good plays. So I want him to succeed as well. I had a chance to interview him a few years ago. Great guy, but I don't know what they're doing in Washington. But I'll be watching that closely. They're playing more for next season. I don't know what him and Anthony Davis can do. They got some great young talent, even though their record, of course, doesn't reflect that down in Washington. But these comebacks of these players, he's been dealing with an MCL sprain all year. It will be interesting to watch. But Tatum is definitely the storyline. Let me know in the comments. Do you think that Tatum should come back? Do you believe he'll ruin the chemistry that they've worked on and ascertained this season? Do you believe Missoula can manage this situation? And lastly, if Tatum comes back, where do you rank the Celtics? Do you have them as going out in round 1 or 2, or do you see them like how I see them as the favorites of the conference? Let me know. And make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, you follow, and you comment to the Rashad Grove Show. And we'll see you back on Monday. And I promise you next week, next Friday, we'll have an interview. I'm not going to let you know who yet, who will be featured with our interview series on Fridays. But I trust and believe you're going to dig it. You're welcome.